Last time, ARC took it to Lord Bandai, unleashing a devastating video exposing him as a complete and utter scalper. To everyone's surprise, though it had some effect, Bandai survived and proceeded to spit in his customers' faces yet again. With a sinister smile, he revealed the new Genki Damatsuri Goku for $80 US, even though it was only $60 in Japan, which was even high for Japan, so he was ripping off both the Japanese and Americans at the same time. The fate of the entire world was at risk.
Now, do it!
Seeing how dire the situation was getting, ARC began gathering energy from all across the universe. Jada Toys, Jazzwares, Storm Arena, they all lended some of their energy to create the ultimate scalper bomb. Will their combined efforts be enough to stop the rampage of this ruthless tyrant? Find out today on this exciting episode of ARC. Alright guys, today we're going to be doing something that I've been thinking about doing for quite some time. Almost a year. Well, I guess I first thought of the idea probably over a year ago, and I actually started executing it almost a year ago, as you can see on the screen there. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But essentially what we're going to be doing is emailing toy companies and asking them, or rather begging them, to make Dragon Ball figures. Okay, now why am I doing this? People will say, oh, we already have Dragon Ball figures, you know, SH FIGUARTS, Dragon Stars, whatever. Yes, but unfortunately, as I mean, most collectors should be aware of this by now, SH FIGUARTS figures are drastically, horribly, horrendously, disgustingly overpriced, right? Look at the new Super Android 13, right? $90, no accessories, right? That kind of thing. And I, like a lot of other collectors, am fed up. You know, I'm tired of Bandai, man. I'm honestly tired of Bandai. I want someone else to give us a different option. I want an alternative. I want a choice, right? Right now, if you want articulated Dragon Ball figures, you have to go through Bandai. You have no other option. Either SH FIGUARTS or Dragon Stars or Dragon Ball Evolve, whatever it is, it's all Bandai, okay? And obviously, SH FIGUARTS, you know, generally look pretty good. Not as good as they should look, but generally look pretty good. But if you want like more affordable figures, like, you know, $20 to $30 figures or whatever, you got to go with Dragon Stars. And most Dragon Stars look like dog toys. Like, most Dragon Stars look really bad, you know? There are some good ones, like, you know, I think Perfect Cell looks pretty good for the price. Baby Vegeta looks pretty good for the price. The Saiyan Saga Vegeta looks pretty good for the price too. But a lot of the other Dragon Stars, you know, look really not good at all, honestly. And even the ones that look, you know, good for the price, they don't have like interchangeable expressions. I don't know if any of them come with effect pieces except for the power-up packs or the 2-packs or whatever. And they're really just like articulation-wise, they're horrible. Like Dragon Star's articulation is horrendous, you know what I mean? Like really, really horrible. So it's clear to see that Bandai does not put really like great effort into those figures. They're kind of like just second thoughts. They're like, here's a very basic Cell figure, you know, it can like pose not that great and it looks better than the SH FIGUARTS, but still, you know, that kind of thing. And right now Bandai has a monopoly of Dragon Ball figures, okay? So because they have that monopoly, they don't have to really try very much. I mean, you have no alternative, right? If you want a Goku figure, you got to either buy it from them or not get one. Or of course you can buy a third-party figure, but that's not like, you know, official true competition, okay? And I believe that if Bandai had actual true competition from a legitimate business, you know, whether it's Jazzwares, Mattel, Storm Collectibles, you know, whoever, okay? If Bandai had true competition from another company making good Dragon Ball figures, articulated, either decent to good to excellent sculpts that could compete with SH FIGUARTS, Bandai would then have to innovate more. They'd have to offer better prices because they would have to actually try to get your business, you see. If there's a competitor, companies have to compete with each other and try to outdo each other, okay? So let's say, you know, Jazzwares started making Dragon Ball figures for a very good price and they look good. Then Bandai would have to be like, okay, hold on. These things are actually pretty solid. We might have to adjust our business plan so we don't lose more customers to this new company, you see. So a monopoly is like 99% of the time, as far as I've ever personally researched and seen it, it's not good for the customer. It's just not good for the customer because the company gets complacent, they get lazy, they start to exploit you more because they know you have no alternative, etc. And I want to see another company make Dragon Ball figures. Some company in the world, okay? We've got what, over 200 countries in the world, thousands of cultures, thousands of languages, billions of people, and only one company can make Dragon Ball figures? Seriously? Something's wrong with that, okay? I want to see a change. And it's like, you know, I, of course, you know, talk about this very often, but I don't like to just talk about stuff. I like to actually do what I'm talking about. So today you're going to see me actually put my words into action, okay? I'm actually going to contact these companies personally and ask them to make Dragon Ball figures. And if you, like me, are fed up with Bandai, you hate their prices, you know the figures aren't as good as they should be, and all that stuff, if you feel like I do, even if you don't have as much of a vehement dislike for Bandai as I do, if you have any similarity to what I'm saying, you can relate to what I'm saying in any way, then I urge you, anyone seeing this video, whether you're a subscriber, a viewer, a random person who happened to randomly see my video, whatever the case is, if you share my views on this in any sense, even if you have just a little bit of agreement about it, please, and if you want to see better Dragon Ball figures, better prices, you want more options and so on, please email these companies yourself, okay? Don't rely on me to just do this myself. I'm just one guy, okay? If one guy emails them, it's like, okay, it's one guy, whatever. But if 100 people email them, 1,000 people email them, 3,000, 10,000, 100,000, however many, right? The more people actually request this stuff, the more the companies will be like, hey, this is like, you know, there's a lot of people who want this stuff. This could be a business opportunity for us, right? There's a lot of potential customers here, okay? This is a potential market for us, okay? So if you want to see that change in Dragon Ball figures, you want to see better options, better prices, and everything, whatever the case is, email these companies yourself. Doesn't matter if you're a YouTuber, you don't have a channel, you're just, you know, a random person in your view, like you're not like a, you know, social media person or whatever. Doesn't matter. Whoever you are, contact these companies yourself. Of course, just be, you know, cordial, be polite and so on, but just, you know, let them know how you feel, what you'd like to see, and so on, okay? So we're gonna start with Jazzwares here, because actually, like last year, as you see there, March 28th, 2025, I actually emailed Jazzwares myself personally, okay? I emailed Jazzwares and asked them to please add Dragon Ball to the Total Anime line, because the Total Anime line is a partnership between Jazzwares and Crunchyroll, and Dragon Ball is on Crunchyroll, okay? So I'm like, dude, can you please make Dragon Ball, right? And some people will say stuff like, oh, well, Dragon Ball already has figures. Yes, but they're either vastly overpriced or look like dog toys, basically, okay? So I'm gonna read you the email I sent, and then we're gonna send a follow-up email, and then we're also gonna email other companies. And I'll leave all this information in the description so you can like email the company, you have the link to the form, or you have their email address or whatever. I'm gonna put all of that stuff in the description so you can know like where to go, who to email, that kind of stuff, okay? So this is the email I sent on March 28th, 2025 to Jazzwares, okay? I said, hi Jazzwares, I am writing this email simply to request that you add Dragon Ball to the Total Anime line. One of the main selling points of your Total Anime line is to provide high quality action figures of popular anime at an affordable price. No anime is more popular than Dragon Ball, except perhaps Pokemon, and no anime is in more desperate need for good, affordable figures than Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's popularity and the popularity of Dragon Ball figures is so tremendous that it would certainly be a successful addition to your line. Currently, there are only about 3 ways to get articulated Dragon Ball figures: Dragon Stars, made by Bandai, SH Figuarts, also made by Bandai, and unlicensed or third party as it is called. The latter two are grossly overpriced. SH Figuarts charges $60 or more for basic figures like Yamcha, who are little different from their Gokus, which they usually sell for $35. The price jump on many figures is absurd and unjustified. It is not rare to see persons complaining about SHF's prices, and yet change is negligible. Many collectors are fed up with Bandai's prices, and there are many voices like mine who cry out for change or an alternative. I believe the total anime line can provide that needed relief. Dragon Stars go for around $20 to $25, so they would be somewhat the closest competitor if you added Dragon Ball to total anime. However, Dragon Stars figures generally cannot hold a candle to total anime because they lack in articulation and do not feature things like interchangeable faceplates. Finally, unlicensed Dragon Ball figures used to fill the role of being affordable alternatives to official figures, but in recent years, they have been bumping up their prices as well and are now usually just as overpriced as SH Figuarts. I know that Bandai is not the only company that can obtain the rights to make Dragon Ball figures. Jakks Pacific once made them, and so did Irwin Toys. I think it's actually Irwin Toy. I didn't know that until recently, actually. I hope that your name will be added to that list. I am only one person, but I assure you there are many others like me who would love for you to add Dragon Ball to total anime. I might just be the only one that actually decided to write an email. Anyways, thank you for taking the time to hear me out. I wish you well, and thank you for providing affordable figures in a world where most figure companies only think about how to drain our wallets for all they're worth. I truly do appreciate your efforts to give people better options. Thank you. And they responded and said, hi, we're so happy to hear your suggestion. We will forward it to our product development team for future consideration. Thanks again, Team Jazzverse. Okay, so they responded, said thank you, and so on. And today now we're going to send a follow-up email. Okay, so this is the contact form, submit a request form, support, put your email address in there, type of issue, let's put general inquiry, subject Dragon Ball figures. Okay, all right, let's see here. Dear Jazzwares, I am writing this email as a follow-up to an email I sent last year. In that email, I requested that you add Dragon Ball to your total anime line. I am still anxiously hoping that this happens one day, and I am currently making a YouTube video for my channel where I am seeking to inspire others to also let you know that they would like this to become a reality. As I said in that email last year, Dragon Ball figure options currently are very lackluster. The quote-unquote good ones are grossly overpriced, and the affordable ones leave a lot to be desired. Currently, Bandai has a monopoly on articulated Dragon Ball figures. And I believe that competition would force them to adjust. Perhaps not immediately, but it can happen over time. If you do add Dragon Ball to your catalog, does catalog have a UE on the end or not? I'm not sure. That might be the American spelling and the UE might be the British spelling. I don't know. To your catalog, I would be very open, let's say very interested, in partnering with you to promote, promote your line and help the figures reach the audience they need to. Thank you for providing affordable figures to collectors in a world where greed is the dominant theme of the business world. Yes, I am over the age of 13, as you can tell by my non-child voice, and we will now click submit. Your request was successfully submitted. All right, so that is 1 complete, 3 to go. All right, next we have Mattel. So Mattel, they are pretty strict about, using their form to contact them. Like you shouldn't really email them directly unless you already have like a thread going or something, of course. So I'm gonna use the form here. Link in the description, of course, for this. Where do you live? Obviously I live in Zimbabwe. Contact my phone, yada yada. Let's click next. Is your inquiry regarding a product you own? No, because I don't own any Dragon Ball Mattel figures, although I wish I did. Please select the category. Let's see. So the options they have here, there's nothing super spot on to what I'm trying to talk about. So I think I'm gonna click this one, requests regarding social media and influencers, since I'm a YouTuber, because nothing else here I don't think like really touches on. Well, new product ideas. You see, this option here sounds good at first, but essentially what it means is like, if you have an idea of like an original product, like you want to invent something or something like that, that's kind of what that's about. So that is not really for me either in this case. So I'm gonna go with, the social media influencers thing. And you can choose that too if you want to do this. All right, and here's the message. Dear Mattel, I am writing this email. It's cold outside, so my fingers are like kind of like semi, stiff. So that's why I'm like messing up typing a lot. I'm writing this email to request that you add Dragon Ball to your articulated action figure catalog. Once again, I don't know whether it should have the UE, but Grammarly doesn't say anything about it. To your action figure catalog. This franchise is immensely popular. Perhaps only being overshadowed by Pokemon as far as Japanese anime goes. I am aware that you once made Naruto figures, and I would love to see Dragon Ball next. There is a huge market for such figures, but sadly, it is currently dominated by a monopoly held by Bandai. The good figures, quote unquote, are vastly overpriced generally, and the affordable ones are truly not the best. I am an avid collector of your WWE figures and appreciate that their prices are much better than many other products on the market today. If you were to add Dragon Ball to your catalog, I would be very interested in partnering with you to promote your line and help the figures reach the audience they need to. Thank you for taking the time to read my email and consider my suggestion. By clicking submit, I understand. Blah, 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 blah. Yes. And submit. Once again, guys, trust me, I'm being honest with you, okay? I am not a robot, all right? All right, it says thank you. It's been submitted and so on. So yeah. Okay, next is Jada Toys, and you can actually email them directly, cs@jadatoys.com, okay? Let's see here. So Dragon Ball figures is the subject. Dear Jada Toys. Oh, and guys, I forgot to mention for the Mattel part, when they asked the kind of inquiry and I chose the social media thing, if you choose that, you can feel free to mention me in there. No problem at all. All right. Dear Jada Toys, I am writing this email to request that you add Dragon Ball to your catalog of articulated action figures. I have many of your Street Fighter figures, such as Ryu, Ken, and Sagat. And I believe you would do a great job at making affordable, good Dragon Ball figures. Currently, the Dragon Ball franchise is under a monopoly held by Bandai. Most of their SH FIGUARTS figures are overpriced, and their quote affordable figures, Dragon Stars, have poor articulation, poor accessories, and are often not aesthetically pleasing. Oh, autocomplete, there we go. I believe that competition from another company would make the Dragon Ball figure sphere much better for customers overall. If you do add Dragon Ball to your repertoire, let's say repertoire, I didn't know it had an E on the end, okay, repertoire, right? I would be very interested in partnering with you to promote the line and help the figures reach the audience they need to. I should have mentioned this with the other ones, but I have, I forgot to mention it before. I have a YouTube channel which focuses primarily, oh dear, the space, on Dragon Ball figures. You can view it at youtube.com/@animated-recreation. I also recently made a secondary channel at Fight Recreation, where I plan to include Street Fighter content. Well, let's say more Street Fighter content, because I already have some on here. More Street Fighter content. Thank you for taking the time to read my email and consider my suggestion. Kind regards. Oh, not kid regards. Kind regards. And send. Okay, last but not least, we have Storm Collectibles. So their customer service stuff is a bit more difficult to track down. I saw this post on, what is this, 16society.com, and it said that the customer service manager is Andrew Lee, Andrew at stormco.com.hk. You can also email the company's main email address, info@stormco.com.hk. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna email Storm first, info@stormco.com.hk, and CC or carbon copy Andrew at stormco.com.hk. Okay, so basically I'm emailing them and he'll like see the email as well. If like, I don't know if he's still active or what, I don't know anything about Storm customer service. I've never contacted them before, but let's give this a try. I've also heard that like they don't often respond to these emails and stuff, so who knows, right? But let's at least send this message here. Dear Storm Collectibles, I am writing this email. Oh, too much spaces. To request that you add Dragon Ball to your 6-inch action figure catalog, perhaps in the Storm Arena line. I am a huge fan of your sculpt excellency. I have Ryu and Ken and am excitedly awaiting your Akuma figure. I believe that your figures would completely change the Dragon Ball figure world. Currently, the Dragon Ball figure line is under a monopoly held by Bandai. And with such power, they have essentially taken advantage of customers by vastly overcharging for most of their figures. I love how affordable the Storm Arena line is for such a great price, and I would probably cry. Literally, I'm not even kidding. I would probably cry if I were to find out that you were adding Dragon Ball to that space. Dragon Ball is probably the second biggest anime in history after Pokemon. There is a huge market for these figures, and I think it would be a very advantageous business opportunity for you. If you do actually make Dragon Ball figures with excellent sculpts and prices like Storm Arena, I would be very interested in partnering with you to promote your line and help the figures reach the audience they need to. Thank you for taking the time to read my email and consider my suggestion. Kind regards, and send. All right. So guys, I've done it. I've emailed 4 companies: Mattel, Jazzwares, Jada Toys, and Storm Collectibles. Okay. Now, nothing might be born of this. None of them might ever make Dragon Ball figures, but at least I can say I did something, right? At least I can say I tried. So once again, if you share my feelings about this, you want to see more options for Dragon Ball figures, you want to see better prices, better figures, better sculpting, more variety, whatever the case is, please email these companies yourself and let them know how you feel. You can feel free to mention me in your email, follow my template as a general guide if you're not sure how to write it and stuff like that. Yeah, guys, so thanks for watching, and bye for now.